What's up, people? In this video we are going to do a video by none other than the legendary Grant Cardone. Homie needs to learn about angles. That's not the most flattering angle. Who told me to do this? This was Charles Fuchs. I got a good one for you, y'all. Grant Cardone video. He has tons, so maybe you can do this one, how to turn your life around. Grant Cardone is the man. I credit him with turning my life around. Unironically, I will tell you that story, I'm sure, as this video progresses. But let's see what Homeboy has to say.
Here, hope you're doing well. And I just want to tell you, no matter where you are today in your life, I promise you, no matter how hard it is, how difficult it is, how tough your life seems to be right now, you can go anywhere you want in life, anywhere, okay? And I know when it's tough, when it's crazy, when you don't have any money, when maybe you have health problems or family problems or partner problems, or you're not finding that right person in your life, it all seems like, when's it gonna break? When am I gonna, is it gonna break? Is there a way out? Am I gonna get a better job ever? You know, look, I've been in all these situations. I lost my first 5 jobs I was fired from. I'm here in Miami today. This is where I live. I live in this building right here. And I'm in beautiful Miami. It's January. It's cold in most of the country. I grew up in a little town in Lake Charles, Louisiana, where it's freezing today. There's ice on the road. It's raining. I grew up in a little small town. And I always had ideas that I would be somebody. First 25 years of my life, it wasn't looking like that because I was getting worse, not better. I never dreamed of living in Miami. I didn't even know where Miami was. I didn't think I'd live in a condo on the 33rd floor with views, 360 degrees wrapped around building. I didn't even think of that stuff. Or I didn't think one day I'd have a jet fly, you know.
Oh, I mean, this is boring for me because I already know this stuff. Alright, so I'll show you guys. Basically, I guess I'll tell you a story now. I've told this story many times. If you watch all my videos, you probably heard it a bazillion times. If you do not, then you probably have not. I was living in LA, super depressed, driving for Uber, doing yoga was really the only thing I had going for me. And I was very conflicted because I wanted to go back to Australia, where I'd previously lived for a year, had a great year, and made a lot of money, and just, I saw it kind of as quote-unquote the best year of my life. And I really wanted to go back there. But I had originally come back to LA and was trying to make it work in LA because that's where I'm from. But I kind of had one foot in, one foot out, just wasn't really making it happen for myself. Wasn't really giving it 100% either because I kind of just didn't want to be there. I guess I really preferred to be in Australia. Anyway, I felt very stuck, lost, whatever. Ended up listening to or Be Average, this book by Grant Cardone. Amazing book. Highly recommend that you guys read this. Or I actually listened to the audiobook right here. You guys can sign up for Audible. I think it's free. Excellent book. I must have listened to it 20 times in my life. Incredible. Definitely, like I said in the beginning, allowed me to turn my life around because it encouraged me to make that decision. Basically what he says in the book is that in order to do anything worthwhile in your life, you have to be obsessed with the outcome. And that all of the great people in the world were obsessed with some outcome, which is why we know who they are. And all this stuff about balance and whatever, what does he say, balance and not working too hard and this and that. He says that it's really misleading, that you actually need to be obsessed with something that you're happy about, that you're glad to be obsessed with. And I think that's great advice. And I took that idea and I ran with it, went to Australia, made a bunch of money. That was great. Meanwhile, that was 2 years ago. I should probably get obsessed with something else in the meantime. However, yeah, so his life story, I don't know, I guess I'll just let him tell it.
And I'd be able to fly private, or I'd have 5 companies that make a bunch of money. I never ever thought about that stuff. And I couldn't think about it because, one, I didn't have any role models that had done that kind of stuff. And number 2, the environment that I lived in, I was losing it. I was not doing well. Which is drugs. I had terrible friends. I had terrible advice. My dad had died, so I didn't have anybody to kind of mentor me and show me the way. Look, I don't even know if I'd listen to him if he was alive. And my life kept getting worse and worse and worse. And I had this little thing inside me that said, hey man, I know I can do something. I know I can. So look, if you have that little voice inside of you, so many people spend time and put attention on the negative voices. And they ignore the fact that all of us also have another voice in us that says, hey, you can do something. You can do more than you're doing right now. The problem is you can't figure out how to do more. That's all right. You don't need to figure out how to do more right now. You need examples of people that have done more, people that have made it, that have broke out. I'm doing this conference here in February in Las Vegas. Every speaker at this conference was 20 minutes speaking. Every one of them came from either humble beginnings or less than that. Every single speaker. These are superstar entrepreneurs. All of them have made it. Every one of them. From different races, different religions, men, women, young, old, in different industries. And all of them have one thing in common, 2 things in common. 1, very humble beginnings, and number 2, they all made it. And by the way, a third thing, every one of them will say they had this little voice inside of them that said, I can do something.
Very true. So I say this all the time, right? The how do you know if somebody's going to make it or not, or if they even have a chance of making it, is the belief that they can make it, right? If it just because you have the belief that you can make it does not necessarily mean you will make it. Let's be clear. But if you do not have the belief that you can, then you absolutely 100% will not, no matter what. And if somehow, by some chance, you accidentally make it, you'll lose your success very soon because you do not believe that you deserve it. Whereas if you do believe that you deserve it, and this is also one of the things that I learned from his book, because he talks about, he kind of glossed over it briefly in this, but what he says in his book is that like, he started out, he was a loser, he dropped out of school, or I think he got a degree in accounting or something. Anyway, he used to do a lot of drugs, and he got the shit beat out of him one day, went into rehab, went into therapy, and then eventually like got into sales, started doing sales, helped him turn his life around. But he always had this idea in his mind that he was capable of doing something great, and he was very open about the fact that he knew, or thought at least, that one day he would be famous, and that one day he'd be very well known for something, right? He had that idea in his head, he had that belief in his head, and that is what kind of pushed him to continue trying, to continue putting the effort into, whatever, he's worth like megabucks now. So I think, and when I heard that, it kind of like, it's like when you see somebody else go first, essentially, it gives you the courage to go as well, right? I don't think that I'd ever really heard anybody say before that, number one, that it's okay to be obsessed with something. Generally, we see obsession as a bad thing. And also, number two, that it's okay to have this thirst for notoriety, that you can, it's okay to want to be the one on stage that everybody is cheering for, and that people want to shake hands with afterwards, that line up around the block to pay hundreds of dollars for tickets to see you. That's okay to want that. And that generally is really looked down upon. Now I don't have that view anymore, obviously. I'm like plastering these videos all over YouTube, I'm like doing the shotgun method, anything that sticks. But, I encourage everybody to have that belief. I think a lot of people don't have that belief because they're scared. They're like, well, what if I believe that I can make it and I don't make it? Then I'll feel really bad. But what I always think of is like, all right, let's say you quit your job and you go do whatever it is you want to do, even if it means you're broke, even if it means like you lose everything that you have, even if it means you never actually make it to the high, status that you want to make it for whatever it is you want to do. At least you spent your entire life doing what you wanted to do. Isn't that worth it in and of itself? I think it is. Maybe you don't, I don't know, but I think it is.
I can do something big. Look, if you have that little voice, and I bet you do. You want to live on a beach in Miami? You can. Okay. I don't care where you live today. You live in Nigeria. You live in Mexico. You live in poverty. You live in some urban city. You got a drug problem. Whatever your problem is, you can get out of that problem. I'm telling you. But you have to keep, without this being a lecture, you have to keep your attention on the glimmer. It's getting a little windy out here. Keep your attention on the glimmer. This building that I live in today, the top floor is $35 million. The second floor is $25 million. And every other unit in the building is $10 million. I'm the poor guy in the building. Now to get there, if you want to get there, you got to keep giving attention to the little voice that you can do more. Second thing I would suggest you do, that I did, was I started studying people that did more. Not people that didn't do more, not people that said do less, not people that said, hey, don't be satisfied, or be satisfied, not people that said, hey, be grateful for what you have. I started studying people that said and had done more, that you can do more. That's who I listen to today. I listen to the people, my friends in my life, the people I listen to, the people I talk to, the people that I follow on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. I don't follow everybody. I follow the people that say, you can do more, dude. I follow the people that say, I am doing more. I follow the people that are actually doing something on this planet to make a difference for the better. You have to be selective. You have to give something up. Okay, you cannot listen to everybody, to every voice, to every person that's quit or given up. You gotta make a decision. If you have that little voice inside of you that says you can do more, you have to give attention to that voice. And you gotta feed it with those that support that idea that you can do more. 25 years old, drug problem?
It's absolutely true, 100%. And I think that's one of those things that like everybody knows. Like, what's the cliched quote that you hear thrown around in like Silicon Valley all the time? You are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time around, right? I hate that quote because it gets thrown around so much by people who I think are absolute douchebags, but that does not mean that it is not true. I think it is true, but I think a better way of saying that would be you are going to resemble the people who your beliefs will resemble the beliefs of the people that you are communicated to, that communicate to you on a daily basis, if that makes sense. Whatever. Basically, the message that you bombard yourself with on a daily basis is going to shape your life, right? So like he said, he doesn't follow everybody, He just follows people who he wants to be like. In fact, I've heard him say, I think in one of his books, he's like, if you walk into a room and you're the most successful person in that room, you're in the wrong room, straight up. And I think that's a very, that's kind of counterintuitive for most of us, because we don't like to feel uncomfortable for not being good at something. We want to be the best. We want to have that like little ego boost of like, we go somewhere and we're the best. And even me, as I say this, right, in my like little box in Bangkok, right, it's easy for me to say that, but you put me in a room, like random example, right? Let's say you put me in a room with like a bunch of like super ripped, like jacked YouTube celebrities. I'll be super uncomfortable. I'll be like, oh my God, I don't belong here. These guys all have better bodies than me. They're all much more popular than me. Like, what am I doing here? This is like, I'm out of place, blah, blah, blah. But if I'm able to control that inner voice and like absorb what I need to absorb from those people and like calm down enough to emulate them, then eventually I will be like them, right? If you want to, whoever you want to be like, find a way to gain close physical proximity to them, and eventually you will resemble them. You just have to actually do it. Another thing that he said is like, and the opposite is true as well. If your friends, straight up, like, I love my friends. I have lots of friends. Most of them, I would say, do not have the aspirations that I have. And if they do have the aspirations that I have, they don't have the work ethic that I have. They're not ready to put in the amount of work that I'm ready to put in for my dreams. So like, I love them. I love hanging out with them. I respect them. They mean a lot to me. But am I going to take their advice on anything? Probably not, unless it's an area where they have domain expertise. Would I take their advice necessarily on how to grow a YouTube channel? If they don't even have a YouTube channel, probably not. But I have one friend in particular who is like a social genius, right? Like everywhere this guy goes, everybody knows him. Everybody loves him. He's just like, he walks into a room, everybody looks to him and wants to go talk to him. So yeah, I'll take his advice on that, no doubt. I have no problem with that.
Broke. Literally. Had more debt than I had money. Had no money, so that was easy. Didn't have any direction, no guidance, no mentors, no connections. Really no clue. I just had that one little thing. That one little thing was going on for me. You can do more, man. It haunted me constantly. So if you have that little thing, okay, and I know you do, listen to it right now. Listen, just listen. Does it say, hey, you can do a little more? My friend Lewis House says he had that voice. Damon John says, I had that voice. Ed Milet says, I had that voice. Okay, Tim Story, Grant, I have that voice. I had it now. I can do more. I know you can do more. Elena, my wife, she's always had that voice in her. She wanted to be a star in Hollywood, right? So we all have dreams. You have dreams. And with those dreams come barriers, obstacles, difficulties, setbacks. That's going to come. And if you could keep surrounding yourself with people that say, hey, the barriers are going to win, the obstacles are going to win, nobody really ever makes it, it's all bullshit, you don't need all that, just be grateful for what you have, settle for what you have, take whatever you got, then you're going to quit and you're going to give up, okay? I don't want you to give up. You might be the next superstar of this universe. You might be the next great example for other people, what they can do. Hopefully I'm an example for other people. Maybe you're running into my channel for the first time. Maybe you've never ever seen me say, who is this dude? Who is this dude telling me I can do anything? Google me when this is over. If it's the first time you've run into my channel, there's about 4,000 of these videos sitting up on YouTube teaching you everything you need to know about business, startups, sales, customers, customer acquisition, social media, internet marketing, real estate, do a bunch of stuff in real estate. I didn't own my first house until I was 31, 32 years old, 33. Today I own almost $700 million worth of real estate. I grew up in a house that was 1,400 square feet. 5 people lived in it, plus my mom and dad, 7 people. We never imagined I could do what I did. So you got the voice? Is it in your head saying I can do more? If you have that voice, okay, just surround that voice with other voices that are saying you can do more, and then start what? Doing more.
Okay, I think that's also very important to highlight here. And the example that comes to my mind, I guess really, fortunately or unfortunately, is kind of the only area where I think I have domain expertise, which is essentially fitness and nutrition, right? Anybody who's in shape, anybody who's in really good shape, we know what it takes to be in good shape. Okay, we know it takes a lot of work. We know it takes a lot of making the right decisions. We know there's going to be setbacks. And we know also that once you reach a level of, let's say, extremely high level of fitness, whatever, you're not going to maintain that level indefinitely. Shit's going to happen. Holidays come, you get an injury, so you're like, get out of shape, or like whatever, you get depressed for some reason, and like 2 weeks you don't go to the gym, 3 weeks, a month, whatever. You have some job that doesn't allow you to train as hard as you would like to train. Shit happens, but we know that, right? And as long as you are surrounded with people who understand that there's a reason why it's called the grind, then that's fine. As far as what he said about never being satisfied, I think that's very important. That's you do need that as well. I think you also need 2 things there, right? If you're never satisfied with anything, then you're not allowed to enjoy the victories that you do get. It's never going to be enough. You're going to drive yourself into an early grave because you're never going to be happy with what you achieve. So you need to like make a conscious effort to celebrate the small victories that you do have, just to kind of keep you going.
hanging around people that are doing more, spending time with people that are doing more, reading books about people that are doing more, listening to audio programs from people that are doing more and have made it. If you want to learn real estate, study people that are doing real estate, not just people that are talking about real estate. If you want to be a great public speaker, you can't just talk to people that are practicing public speaking. You need to go work with people that are actually getting paid to do public speaking, if that's what you want to do. You want to write a book? Good. But you need to meet people that actually sell books, right? You need to hang out with those people. What are you doing? Because a book that is written and never sold is a book that, well, hey, is it ever even written? I mean, really? You know the old thing about the tree falling in the forest? Nobody's there to hear it. Did it fall? Did it make a noise? Yeah, I don't know. I just know this. You can do more. That voice in your head, if you're the only one that hears it, is it real? You gotta give it a life, okay? You gotta give it a life. You gotta hang with the right people, get mentored by the right people, study the right people, stay on the course, stay on the path, no matter how bad it is today. Drug problem, relationship problems, all the above, okay? Just fired from a job. Hey, I was fired from a job last year, my 6th job I lost last year. It's all good, it's all good. You're not gonna remember the failures. If you can get successful enough, you will only look back and say, hey, I made it. I wanna help you, I wanna be your...
All right, 100% right. You know, I think I've been fired. I've been fired from just about every job I've ever had, pretty much, right? I've been fired. Well, no, 75% of the jobs that I've had I've been fired from. None of the sales jobs, I don't think. Yeah, none of the sales jobs. Anyway, whatever. The point is that everybody, I think, because like what he says, you know, what does he say? He's like, if you have that voice in your head saying that you can do more, he says, and like he's like, everybody has that. I know you have that voice, and I think that's true too. And I've said something along those lines in a lot of my videos, and I got that concept from him, because when I forget, I think it was the Be Obsessed or Be Average book that I was listening to. I remember when he was telling his life story, he's talking about that, and he says like if you deny that desire for celebrity and fame and positive attention and recognition, it's only because you're scared, because you don't think you can actually do it. And I think also this is one of the reasons why I just, not that I don't have any respect for these like eating disorder people, but like how can you respect anybody like that who doesn't believe that they have a choice? Like really, how can, like what are they ever going to do? Why do they deserve any of my acknowledgement whatsoever? You don't even believe that you have any control over your life. So like why would I engage with you in any way whatsoever? You don't think you have any control? Okay, cool. Like, what do you want from me? Like, I don't want to be around somebody who doesn't think they have control. You're unpredictable. You have no control. Like, how can I depend on you for anything? I'm just supposed to care for you like some sort of sick animal that like shits itself all the time. If it's my sick animal that I've had for like 20 years and it's like approaching death's door, yes, I will care for it, because, you know, I'm not going to like throw it out on the street. But if you're just like some random person that I met and you're like, oh, by the way, I'm really sick and I require constant care and attention, okay, cool. Like, have fun being a drain on your family and friends, but not me. I'm gonna like try and surround myself with people like this. I say that as I like talk by myself in my room here. Someday I'll do it. Anyway, who told me to do this? Was this Charles Fuchs? Charles Fuchs. Thank you, Charles Fuchs. You guys got any more recommendations? Let me know. Peace.